Hey, hello, I am Danny Two Shoes, and I am really excited to show what I've been working on for the last month now in terms of my game. If you saw the first video of my devlog, you probably have an idea of the kind of game that I want to make, and I even quickly showed like a bare bones version of the first level and how the randomly generated level is going to work. So this past month, I've created so many different rooms, so every time it loads the level, it's kind of different, you know, which is the point because I'm going for a roguelike kind of game with some Metroidvania aspects. Now, in the first video, I did say it was heavily inspired by Hollow Knight and the gameplay mechanics of Binding of Isaac. Now, I do have a lot of plans to make this game very unique, and once I start adding item rooms and shops where you can purchase different power-ups, I feel like it's going to be very unique. So I'm really excited to do that next. So first, I just want to show off one level, the first level. We're going to load it. It's going to be randomly generated. We'll walk through it, probably see some bugs or some problems. I'll point them out if it comes up. And after that, I'll load it a few times just so you can see how different it is every time it loads. Okay, so let's get started and let's load the level. All right, so we see here, this is the first level. We just fell down. If you remember from the first video of the devlog, the central hub of the game is Ossusbury. And Ossusbury is where we start right before we do a run, where you can talk to some NPCs, maybe purchase any things that can help you get stronger. And once we enter the level, there's no way to go back up. You can't go back to Ossusbury unless you finish it or you die. So the first room is always going to be the same. It's always going to have a right door. Now, I can change it and add different starting rooms, but for simplistic purposes, I've only made one starting room. So we see here, there's kind of some parallax features with the foreground, even the background. I've been working on it with those pillars. All right, so we go here, we go to the next room. Right. So it randomly loaded this room. So every time we load, this room is going to be different. All right, so we see here, we come down here, we have a down door. All right. I explained there's a wall slide. All right, let's come over here. What do we have over here? All right, looks like there's an up door over here. Okay, now, this is probably going to be the first problem you're going to notice. It took a lot of work to get the room transitions with the camera to be smooth. I kind of fixed the room transitions when we go from left to right, but I'm having problems making the room transition from up and down be smooth. Watch this. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. All right, so we have just a random room over here. I'm experimenting with some light. So you see here, I put this little thing here with a candle, and the floor is a little bit illuminated over here. Just testing out some lights. There's a little bit of problem with the lights, as you can see right here on the floor. I think it's because the player character has his own light, so he can illuminate a little bit of the floor. You see where he's walking. And if we walk over here, the floor is a little bit like flashing. So that's a problem I'm noticing right now. Okay, let's jump down. Let's see if the camera transition is nice and smooth. Oh, you see that? We just found a problem. So if we jump down, he quickly comes up and he goes down. I think I can fix that because this floor is pretty close. So I think he's falling down here and he's going too far up. I have to find a way to fix that. All right, so here we have a problem. Okay, so that's one problem we found already. It's amazing how the parallax that I've added for the foreground really increases the quality of the levels. It makes it look a lot nicer. I hope we can find something that I've added. There's only very few rooms that have it. There's nothing here. As you can see, some parts of rooms, they lock the camera. So if we're here, the camera follows the player. But over here, I put it where it fixes the camera, so the camera doesn't move up and down. So kind of a little bit like a Metroidvania aspect. So we come here close to the edge, and now we can see a little bit down where we have to go. Right, so we can come here. All right, we have it down. Let's see how this one is. Is this a problem? Okay, we see that? That's another problem. The camera snapped as we fell down. So the room transitions from up and down is just so difficult. I don't know how to fix that stuff. I've been spending a lot of time trying to make it look right. Let's see, what room do we have here? Okay. Oh, did you see that? Look. The floor is shaking. This is something I added. So when we see a floor shaking like this, that means it's bombable. We can bomb it. So I've added bombs in the game, as you probably know if you watched the first video. We can drop a bomb. We can use that to blow up these shaking floors. So let's put a bomb here. All right. And now it reveals this little room. In this little room, I can put treasure chests, maybe some pickups, like keys, coins, things that can help you with the level. All right, so I'm really happy with the way that came out with the bombable floors. Now, I'm gonna make it where it's not always guaranteed for that bombable floor to spawn. So this room, let's just say it loads. It could be that this floor isn't bombable. So maybe I can add like a chance, maybe like a 25% chance it's bombable. So every time it adds a little bit more of a random element to the level when it's randomly generated. So I think that's pretty cool. It kind of gives kind of like a random effect, kind of like a roguelike game, right? Because a roguelike game, every time you play, it has to be a little different. All right. So we see here, right? So I have to create a map system. So I'm probably going to make a map system for this game after I implement shops and item rooms, because this is the kind of game you need a map. Like, we just walked around this level. I have no freaking idea where we are. I have no idea where we are in terms of the level. I don't know. Like, once we add shops and item rooms and a boss room, it's gonna be a pain in the ass if we don't have a map to know, okay, it's time for me to go to the boss. Where was the boss room again? I remember I saw it a few rooms ago, but I don't know where I am. So I have to add a map feature, a map system to this game. So I'm really excited to tackle that because I know kind of what I want. I want it to work. I'm just not 100% sure how to implement it. So I'm really excited to test it out. Okay, let's test this one, this down room transition. So we jump down. The camera is snapping. I don't like it. I don't like how it looks. All right, so this should be a good enough showcase to show the level, right? What I've been working on. Now, as you see here, there is a HUD where I was working on the health system, but I'm not happy at all with how the health bar worked, so I disabled the health bar. I am going to edit that HUD with the health, so I'm going to completely revamp that and rechange that probably soon, because once I start adding item rooms, they're going to give you power-ups and stat boosts, so you can pick up an item that increases your health, so it needs to be able to increase or decrease the health bar, and the health bar just isn't working. It wasn't working, so I disabled it. Okay, so I think this is a pretty good picture of how it's going to work. Now, let's show a few levels and how they look every time they're loaded, just so you can get an idea of the random level generator that I made. So let's start. Let's eject ourselves from the game. Okay, so this is here, right? So this is one level that we made. Now you'll probably notice a little bit about here, like this parallax. All of this foreground is using parallax on the materials. So it's based on the camera position. So this is a little bit kind of to the right. And if we move, like if we come back here, if we move the camera, the foreground is moving based on the camera position. So if we eject back out, it's slightly moved. I guess it's not a good picture because we have to be more on this side. Okay, so this is one randomly generated level. Let's do another one, right? Eject. You see, look at this. Very different. Very different. I'm very happy with how this is coming out and how this is looking. Now, one thing I need to do, I need to change, is the starting room is a basic room with a right door. So I didn't implement it where sometimes it will put the starting room as a regular right room, and I have to fix that. Let's do another one. Let's eject. Look, right? Each time it's very different. So I'm very happy with how this this level is with the randomly generated aspect of it. Now the next thing I have to make is I have to make item rooms and shops, and there's going to be one item room and one shop per level. So I have to create a shop and item room for each room variation, for a left room, a right room, an up room, a down room, and it has to randomly place one in the level. So that's the next thing I'm gonna work on. Okay. Also, this is kind of funny here. I just noticed this the other day when I was working on the Bombable Floors. I can put a bomb, right? Right. But I didn't include any kind of timer or any way to stop you from using another bomb. So we can just spam these bombs. I have to fix that. So funny. There was also another problem I found out when I was working on the Bombable Floors. I turned and I placed a bomb, and the bomb flew like a bullet. And I can't replicate it. I can't replicate it. I think it's because I placed it right when I turned. And I really want to be able to replicate it so I can kind of find out why that's happening. I can't replicate it. Okay. All right. Okay, so before I finish the video, let me just show a little bit about how I made this possible with the randomly generated levels. So as we can see here, I have a persistent level. And the persistent level, all it has is just a player start. And all of these sub-levels are each individual room. So, for example, here we have, right, a down room, a room with a down door. So these are all in the persistent level. Right here, down left doors, down left right doors, right? An up door, up down right, up down left right. So I've created so many rooms. And I have a database over here of all the rooms, and there's about like 62 rooms right now in the database. So the random level generator is on the persistent level. So the persistent level has this blueprint, and this is what makes the magic happen. This is what makes the magic happen for the random level generator. So basically how it works is it first spawns the starting room, which is this one right over here, right 02. So it spawns this room, and every room has a width and a height, and each room basically has the same width and height. So if in 0, 0, right, this is the coordinate of the first room, it's going to see what room, if there's any open doors, and it's going to be a right door. So it's going to place a room with a left door in coordinates 1, 0. So it's going to place it over here. And then it's going to be, basically, it's just a bunch of for loops where we're going back and forth, going through the database to find out a room with a left door, placing it here, and it just keeps on going back and forth. What open doors does that have? It has an up door. Okay. So now let's place a door with a down door in coordinates 1, 1, if that makes sense. And we basically do that until we get the max amount of rooms. So the level generator blueprint is on the persistent level. And if we click here, we can even add how many rooms I want this level to have. So over here, I put a max number of rooms at 12. So every time this room is generated, it will have 12 rooms. Now, I'm kind of afraid to do something crazy. I don't know. Let's try 25. Let's test this out. Ooh, look at that. I think it's because it's taking so long to load that the camera is not catching the player. I think that's what's happening. Oh, this one worked. Ooh, there's 3,600 actors. Let's test out the how's the FPS? Is it still okay? It's still a stable 60 FPS. So that's good. That's good. Let's eject. Wow. Jesus. Whew. This would take a really long time to go through this. I think that's too many, but as we can see here, the FPS is dropping to like 50. I think it's because we're zooming out. And there's a lot of lights here, so I have to fix the lights. So let's possess. But once we're back here, it drops to 60. So that's a good sign, I think. That's a good sign. All right, let's just put a player start here, just so we can test this room individually. Right. So as we see here, these are kind of like light bulbs that I've been working on. So it illuminates a little bit the top and the bottom floors, and we can jump up and we can break it and it takes away the light. So I'm kind of happy with how that came out. I think I saw a problem. I think the foreground is overlapping right there. You see that? I have to fix that. Okay. So that's pretty much everything that I've been working on for the past month now. It was really tedious with the foreground, adding all this foreground here and giving it a parallax feature. But I think it was a necessity because it really increased the quality of the levels and it makes it look a lot nicer. Now, what's next? The next thing that I'm going to be working on is I'm going to start implementing item rooms and shops, and I want to make it fully functional. So let me show you an item room. It's still the basic item room that I showed in the first devlog. Okay, so this is the idea that I'm having for the item rooms. Now, every item room is going to be locked. So that means you can only enter this room if you have a key. So whatever room is over here on the right of this room, for this example, it's going to be locked. There's going to be a door. So you need to have a key to unlock it, to come in here. And then once we walk over here in the middle, there's going to be a pedestal with an item on it, an artifact. And there's going to be a lot of different kinds of artifacts that I have planned. There's two main types of artifacts. There's going to be a passive artifact, and there's going to be a super artifact, which is kind of like an active item. So for the passive items, the passive artifacts, it could be something as simple as it's increased to a certain stat. Maybe it increases your health, your attack power, your range. And there's also going to be different kinds of passive artifacts where it could just be something, just a straight up addition into your powers. Like you can have a minion or a pet following you and they can attack enemies with you, things like that. And the other kind of item is going to be an active item, which will be a super artifact, or a super art for short. And a super art, it could be something very powerful, but it's on a cooldown, so you can't just spam it. For example, it might be like a fireball, so we can pick up a super art that gives you a fireball power, and if you press the active item button, it'll shoot a big fireball, and then there has to be a cooldown until you can use it again. It could be 10 seconds, it could be you have to defeat 10 enemies to get that power back for it to cool down. So there's a bunch of different ideas that I have for super arts. So those are the main kinds of items that we're gonna get. And there's also gonna be a shop. And this is what I'm gonna work on next, adding shops into the game. So we see here, I didn't even really start working on the shop rooms. So the plan is we come in here, we walk into the shop, and over here, we're going to have items on the table. We can just walk in, we can buy with any coins that we have, and it could be something like it restores some of your HP. Maybe you could buy a key here because maybe you don't have a key to go to the item room or something like that. So we can buy a key, maybe buy some bombs, things like that, just to help us with the level. Now I have to make sure there has to be a different item room and shop for each room. So there has to be a shop and item room for an up door, an up room, a down room, a left room, and a right room. And I have to make sure I have to add it into the random level generator blueprint to only spawn one item room and one shop per level. So that's what I'm gonna work on next. Next, I'm gonna add functional item rooms, functional shops, and I'm going to add a working health bar, coins, keys, and bombs that we can pick up. So that's the plan that I have. I hope it's not gonna be too much work, and I'm hoping that I can update the devlog maybe I'm hoping less than a month. I'm hoping it could even be maybe like 2-3 weeks, but maybe expect an update for the next devlog to come in about a month. All right, so I hope you liked it. If there's any thoughts that you have, please share them with me. Let me know any of your thoughts, what you think, what can I do to improve the game. And if you like what you see, it would mean the world to me to subscribe, because it really, really, really helps me stay motivated working on this game. Making a game is just so much work, and it takes up so much of my time. And when I see that people are interested, or they're subscribing, they're liking my videos, it really, really does motivate me to work harder, to work more on my game. So please, if you want to support me, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Okay, so that's it for me right now. Look forward to the next update, maybe in a month. Other than that, I gotta go. Bye-bye.